Welcome back to another episode of the Bear Trap on the Boom Bust channel, Bears podcast by a Bears fan. I'm your host, Terry, and today recapping our Week 3 victory against the Dallas Cowboys. Not too much to talk about, and so I was knocked out. I was knocked out, honestly, probably before the game even ended, but the game kind of was already headed in the way it was, and it kind of played out like I thought it would. So it's not a whole lot of analysis about this game. So before the game, I said, and really with 2 weeks, is not enough to make any definitive decisions. But, with injuries and everything, I felt I saw enough of Dallas's defense where I'm like, okay, look, this is a soft pass rush, even for our tackles. And the secondary's bad. With the injury to Bland, you got backups in there, even with Bland in there. So many coverage busts. We saw what the Giants did to them last week. So I'm like, look, this is one of those get right games. If we can't see it here, I don't know that we're going to see it this year. And I feel and felt very strongly about that. Obviously, called it before the game. And so we did see what we expected. Now, over the years, for whatever reason, people really don't like when I say this, and I, for the life of me, can't understand why. But who you play matters. It absolutely matters. It's the biggest thing. And as I said before, I'm back. For the most part, I'm plugged into a number of football teams and more football than I have been in the past few years. Shoot, more than that since I moved down here. But it all just reaffirms everything that I've already known, that I knew when I was coaching, and just reaffirms it now. Who you play is everything. That's literally all we talk about. And so when people try to tell me that's not true or that doesn't make sense, I just don't know what sport you're talking about. So who you play absolutely matters. And with this matchup, I thought, like I said, this should be a strong game for Caleb. And obviously, outside of trying to make the playoffs, the division and all that, people are really just locked in on how different Caleb looks with Ben Johnson. It ain't even really how different the Bears look with Ben Johnson. It's just Caleb. That's what the narrative is focused on. And so for me, again, I thought this would be a good opportunity for him to showcase, and he did. I mean, simple as that. I think for sure against some other or some better units, we wouldn't have been able to do some of the things we did passing game wise. Obviously, you had a trick play, but then we also have busted coverages and all that. The throw to DJ Moore, like, again, you see the excellent physical talent, but again, coverage bust. So that is, that's part of it. It's funny because I was having this conversation with somebody over one of the all-pro film sessions, and they were talking about how I shouldn't be pointing out, or I shouldn't focus on what the defense is doing wrong. I need to focus on what the player's doing right. And I'm like, that just doesn't make sense to me. Like, you can't, it's football. You can't talk about one without the other. If I ignore the defense in the context of the play, then you're talking about on air where, nobody's out there. That's not what football is. It's competition. So you have to look at what everybody's doing. So anyway, there's that. I think I expected as much with the weapons we got, with the amount of any quarterback with a good amount of time usually can make something happen. And Caleb was able to just go into his full bag of tricks. The run game scares me, though. I just looked at it. I forgot. I think we had like 60 or 70 some yards. I know we had, like, depending on, how you count the penalties and stuff, we had like -1 rushing yards for a good amount of the first half. And even if it wasn't -1, it wasn't that much. It wasn't even 10 yards rushing. And so our run game was not good. And we know again, the whole narrative with Parsons and stopping the run and blah, blah, blah. And for as bad as the secondary looked, they stopped our run game, our core run game, pretty well for most of the game. And so that is very concerning. I mean, I remember vividly the first play, under center play action. And look, again, Ben Johnson, that's his style. And while it is a little different than Detroit, when I watch Detroit now, even some last year, it's very much a Ben Johnson. It's very similar. And so we really want to get under center type formations, motion to some play action, and pass off of that. But the problem is we don't run the ball well, nearly like Detroit. And good teams, especially as you go through the season, that play action stuff is not going to really give you any advantage. The under center play action came back popular because for the reason it was popular to begin with. But, everybody gets onto one craze and then they realize, oh, let's go back to, it's a cycle. So anyway, it became popular again because, okay, we could turn the back, hide the ball, and, we could, hand it off here, wide handoff. We could do a lot with the ball handling that really gets the defense either frozen or flowing the wrong way. But that doesn't come into play if they're not about to run the ball. If we feel like you're not running the ball, we're just going to get into our pass drops. And again, you're not really going to have that much of an advantage. And really, you'll be at a disadvantage because a lot of times what we're doing with the formations we have, we'll have the running back block or the running back in a tight end. So we only got 3 people out in the route. So you get to a point where teams don't believe you're going to run. You're only putting 3 in the route. You're pretty much going to have nowhere to throw if people do their job. So that worries me a lot. You got to be able to run the ball in this league. As much as I've been saying for years, people call it a passing league. You got to run the ball. And that is a huge chunk of the Ben Johnson Lions offense that we're missing as we try to, carry it over here, is that they were extra effective running the ball. Not only were they effective running the ball, they have one of the most explosive running backs in the league, which not only makes you worry about an effective run game, but makes you worry about home run hits. And so we don't have that part. So that worried me. Obviously, we were just hitting on some explosive splash plays. So that run game never really hurt us necessarily. We did stall out in the second half in a handful of drives, but we for the most part were able to stay alive on those splash plays. And look, good game plan by Ben Johnson. You saw a lot, people gonna say creative, whatever. You saw a lot of misdirection. And as I said before with our defense not too long ago, before Eberflus kind of got them, before we got TJ Edwards and everybody, when you have a team that is not disciplined, either they're just bad or they're not disciplined, misdirection is the killer. And so, and honestly, the Lions, mostly the Packers, but the Packers and Lions, they really did that to us a few years ago before our defense got more solid. And so Detroit, or Ben Johnson, attacked it the same way. It's like, okay, you got this defense that is not disciplined. People are trying to do each other's jobs, and so we're going to run some misdirection at you. And we saw a lot of that. We saw Burton getting in. We saw Zacchaeus. Obviously, DJ Moore has been doing some of that. And some of those plays worked really well, just attacking the perimeter with misdirection. And it gave me a flashback to our defense 3 or 4 years ago. And so, look, man, the matchup was just set up for us to take advantage of that. And then defensively, like I've been talking a little bit about Byard. He hasn't been great the first two games, and we'll see kind of what he looks like. But Tremaine Edmonds on the other side has been an absolute all-pro, and he's playing. I mean, not that he wasn't playing this way, but he's playing like at the peak of what people expected when he got drafted. I think a lot of people might not remember how it was him and Roquan. I believe so in that draft. That was kind of the debate, so funny how we ended up getting him after Roquan. But anyway, really rangy, sideline to sideline, not the biggest thumper, but still a big body, and just, man, he's been everywhere. And TJ, I think him and TJ Edwards were playing at a high level last year together. TJ hasn't been on the field much this year, and I just feel like Edmonds is taking it up to a new level. But outside of that, man, it's a lot of the same old. We just not getting that pass rush. Sweat does not look like the guy that ran a 4.3 or 4.4, 40, whatever. That you just don't see that explosion. Grady continues to work, but I think, he's definitely out of his prime. And just in general, we just do not have anybody that has that like upfield penetrating mentality. And when it comes to pass rush, man, it's tough. And so we haven't blitzed a ton at all, but I would assume that that's going to start to heat up, especially as we play better competition. I believe Coach Allen said that if they can't do it before, we're going to have to, start dialing it up. And I think that's going to happen. Now, obviously, again, people are going to say the secondary's injured, and they are. So we'll see. Hopefully, eventually, when we get all those guys back. But, I thought we were solid enough. We made some plays when we had to. And the biggest thing is that kind of the opposite of Dallas, and I've been saying this, maybe this is my third year or so, but once I kind of locked in on this, I've been swearing by it. It is not about having that elite corner or elite safety. It's about having four guys, two corners, two safeties, a lot of times three with the nickel, but still having those core four guys who know how to communicate and know their job. That is what's most important. And so it doesn't matter if we don't have the talent of a Diggs or Bland. To me, you want guys that are not going to give coverage busts. And I think really this whole 10 years of Edwards and all those guys, it's been very much bend, don't break. And we've been good at that. And I think that's, we still look that way similarly. But I like Sewell. He's playing well. But, yeah, the defense overall, man, we kind of look kind of similar. But obviously those turnovers, like in any game, that's going to, cost you. Obviously, Edmonds made two big plays. And then Milton came in and just threw that one away. So, turnovers, that's going to get you. So, I mean, we did what we had to do. Like, part of the evolution is, do you take care of business against teams you should take care of business? Now, for those that have listened to me for a while, I'm not a Packers hater. I'm not into it like that. So this is just me talking objectively. Because you get a team like Packers going against the Browns. Now, to me, I said all year the Browns is way better than people giving them credit for off the defense alone. But if you listen to the narratives that this is a bad team, they should go in there and take care of business, and then you don't. So part of the evolution is taking care of business when you are supposed to have an easy game, and we did that. So while I don't think that is a true representation of our talent, we still did what we had to do, and we got the win. And as I say a lot, confidence matters the most for player development. So that confidence for Caleb, that confidence for Ben, as a head coach and the team. That's going to be a huge thing. And it's Dallas. Like, so many people from Chicago live in Texas and the Dallas area. So many people from Dallas area live in Chicago, whatever, with sister cities. I don't know why. 2 of my brothers live in Dallas. 3 of them used to live in Dallas. Like, it is what it is. So Dallas, Chicago is a thing, and it feels good. That was like a rivalry game. So anyway, that's it for me. Go down comment section. Let me know what you think. Share it around. Get the convo started. Thumbs up, subscribe. And remember, stay up and bear down.